Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, the video I hoped I'd never have to make. Welcome back everybody, I'm Dr. Matt, aka the Doc in the Arena, the guy giving you the medical take on sporting topics, and today it brings me no pleasure to have to talk to you about an injury to my favourite basketball star, LeBron James. Now LeBron James unfortunately suffered a high ankle sprain yesterday against the Atlanta Hawks following pretty much a freak accident, and now faces an extended period on the sidelines. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break down the injury mechanism first. I'm going to talk about the structures involved, and most importantly, I'm going to tell you what this all means for LeBron and the Lakers season. So make sure you stay tuned. As I always say, if you like this type of content, hit like. If you want other people to know about it, share, comment, get involved, ask me questions. I do get back to people. And of course, subscribe and hit the bell. That way you get all the notifications and all the updates. So here we go. Right, the headlines. Lakers star LeBron James is out indefinitely with a high ankle sprain, as per reports. Now, I was watching this game live against the Hawks yesterday, and when I saw the injury, I was immediately worried. So what I'm going to do, I want to jump straight into the video. I want to look at the mechanism of injury, and I'm going to use that to talk about the structures involved and why I'm a bit worried about LeBron. Right, okay, so let's take it to the video. If we just play it straight through, okay, I want you to focus on LeBron's right ankle. So you can see Solomon Hill comes in from the outside and smashes that ankle. Now, if we look at it again, and I will freeze frame it, I want you to see the position of the ankle. So he's been hit at the lateral part of his lower right leg, okay? As you can imagine, as you can see, that applies an outer stress, so a valgus stress, and you can see the position his foot and leg are in. The leg is straight on. The ankle is externally rotated and pointed out to the side like that. It's also tilted into E version, okay? So if you can just imagine, conceptualize it, that is putting pressure on the structures in the medial part of his ankle, so the inner part of his ankle, and as well as I'll get to, the high ankle. One other thing I'd like you guys to note is that this was quite a high energy injury. All things considered, it was, the full body weight of a large NBA player going through LeBron's ankle. And if that ankle was fully planted, that could have caused a much bigger injury. But it takes that type of injury to damage those inner structures in the ankle, because those ligaments are very, very strong. Now let's go to the anatomy, and then I want to put the two things together, okay? So you've seen the mechanism, let's go to the anatomy. Right, so if we just look at the images, okay? What we can see is a straight on view of a right ankle, and I've removed everything except some of the key ligaments, okay? Remember this, ligaments connect bone to bone, and they do that in order to keep the bones together, keep the joints stable, right? Normally, normal ankle sprain, okay, we're referring to the lateral ankle, okay, so referring to all these ligaments here, talofibular ligament, ATFL, etc., right? As I said, he took a blow to the lateral part of his leg, which would stress these inner ligaments here, but also the high ankle. So we know the diagnosis. I'm not going to focus on the medial ligaments, but I want to focus on this what they've called a high ankle sprain. Now, question, while I've got this on screen, you can see the lower leg is comprised of the tibia and the fibula, right? That we know that from my other videos, if nothing else. But have you ever wondered, hold on, how do these two bones stay together so tightly and compactly? Why is that not a thing? And the reason is because it's got ligaments and other structures keeping the two bones together. Now, if you think about that, you can probably imagine if those structures are damaged, that's concerning to us, right? That's exactly what's happened in LeBron's case. So a high ankle sprain is referring to some of these structures that connect the tibia and the fibula together. So let me click on some now. So you can see he's got the anterior tibiofibular ligament. So it connects the tibia to the fibula, right? If we then spin it round, we've got posterior, and there's a couple others. And there's actually just what they call an interosseous membrane. So interosseous is Latin for between bone membrane. And all those things work together to keep your tibia and fibula in line and together, which in turn keeps your ankle basically tight in shape and allows it to function as a joint. Now, if those structures are damaged, what happens? Let's put it together. You can get what they call a diastasis, which is just Latin for a separation between the two bones. And that is not only extremely painful, but can cause massive loss of function in the joint, arthritis, and it can also expose risk to the other ligaments throughout the ankle, of which there are plenty. So that is the concern with LeBron James. So he suffered a high ankle sprain, aka damage to those ligaments that help keep the tibia and the fibula together. Not good, not good. I'm going to say straight off the bat, this is a very tricky rehabilitation, and it will be a prolonged period of time. I wouldn't be thinking about bringing him back earlier than 6 weeks. I will say that basketball, doctors and physiotherapists are really good with ankle stuff. So if they've got a method to bring him back before 6 weeks, I don't know. Would I advise it? Probably not. And 6 weeks is optimistic. So the next steps for LeBron is this. So he's had the MRI, as we know. We know the report of the MRI. I think the next few days are going to be a bit techie, right? I think he's going to be in a protective boot, that's for sure. He might actually just be completely non-weight bearing, but he'll be minimum in a protective boot. I would reckon that what they're going to do is reassess in maybe 3 to 5 days, try and let some of the bruising come out, let the acute pain settle, and that way they're really going to be able to assess stability in that joint. What you don't want is as I said earlier, the fibula and the tibia to start coming apart. If that happens, that could be a big problem. And you have to appreciate that LeBron's not just a normal guy. He's putting a lot of weight and energy through that joint. So the risk of the bones coming apart is higher than a normal person. That's significant because if that's the case, that means that joint is unstable. That syndesmosis is unstable. And that means he needs an operation. Exactly. Operation will prolong his return massively. That'll take him 12, 13 weeks to get back. And that's being optimistic. So yeah, there's a lot to digest here. I mean, his injury isn't common. It only comprises about 10% of all ankle sprains. It's going to be minimum 6 weeks out if things are going well and hits conservative management. But they're going to be looking to see how stable that part of the joint is. If he hasn't already, he's going to be having weight-bearing x-rays where they look and see whether when he puts weight through that joint, the bones come apart. They literally look on the x-ray and see if it's aligned or slightly apart. He may have had some already, but they may actually wait until some of the initial swelling inflammation's gone down until he can fully try and put some weight through that joint. If that starts to separate, he'll go for an operation. If there's any signs of sort of decent level instability on clinical examination, he'll go for an operation. So those are things I'm a tiny bit worried about. But the best case scenario is about 6 weeks out and come back in early May, have a month or so with AD and somehow get through the playoffs. Even when he's back, that ankle could be chronically sore and painful. And I think he'll just have to get through that. Yeah, so not good news. I'm wearing the purple today, repping my guy. Disappointed. I think his MVP run's probably over. I think the Lakers are going to really, really struggle in terms of seeding games. He's missing some massive games coming up. And if we can get him back and fully firing before the playoffs, they've done a really good job. I will keep you guys posted on any changes, anything, if they redo any imaging and say it's better than they thought or worse than they thought. If it's a grade 1 or a grade 3. And I'll be in touch. In the meantime, I'm going to have to drop my music and see if it cheers me up. Remember what I said. If you like it, subscribe, share, comment, ask me questions for things I've forgotten. Otherwise, ta-ra.